Dear students of 11th class, and today we are going to discuss or introduce ourselves to one of the most important that facts about the plants, that is that they carry out the green plants that carry out the photosynthesis. So we are going to discuss photosynthesis in green plants or the higher plants. And today's lecture is an introductory lecture about the photosynthesis, what we previously know about the photosynthesis that we will take up today. You know that all animals, including human beings, depend on plants for their food. However, have you ever wondered from where plants get their food? And green plants, in fact, have to make or rather synthesize the food they need, and all other organisms depend on them, that is, the green plants, for their needs or for their food. That is, the green plants act as the primary producers. And green plants carry out photosynthesis, a physico-chemical process. Photosynthesis is a physico-chemical process by which they use light energy to drive the synthesis of organic compounds. Ultimately, all living forms on Earth depend on sunlight for energy. That is, the sun is the ultimate source of energy, the whole energy that drives the universe or the world. In a living world is obtained from the sunlight. The use of the energy from the sunlight by the plants doing photosynthesis is the basis of life on Earth. So photosynthesis, therefore, is an important due to two reasons. It is the primary source of all food on Earth. It is also responsible for the release of oxygen into the atmosphere by green plants. Have you ever thought what would happen if there were no oxygen to breathe? And in this chapter coming ahead, all these questions ought to be answered in the forthcoming lectures. And now, what we know about the photosynthesis from the previous experience or from the lower classes. What we already know about the photosynthesis, some simple experiments you may have done in the earlier classes, that is, the students or your teachers have carried out in the classrooms or the labs, and have shown that chlorophyll, that is the green pigment of the leaf, light and carbon dioxide are responsible for photosynthesis to occur. You may have carried out experiment to look for starch formation in two leaves, a variegated leaf or a leaf that was partially covered with black paper, and one that was exposed to light. On testing these leaves for starch, it was clear that photosynthesis occurred only in the green parts of the leaves in the presence of light. And another experiment you may have carried out in the earlier classes is the half leaf experiment, where a part of leaf is enclosed in a test tube containing some sodium hydroxide soaked cotton which absorbs carbon dioxide, while the other half is exposed to air. The setup is then placed in a light for some time. On testing for starch, Later, in the two halves of the leaf, you must have found that the exposed part of the leaf tested positive for starch, while the portion that was in the tube tested negative. And they showed that carbon dioxide was required for photosynthesis. And these are the simple experiments which show the raw ingredients or the raw materials that are required for the photosynthesis to be carried out by the green plants. And some more experiments in this regard are as it is interesting to learn about those simple experiments that led to a gradual development in our understanding of photosynthesis. It was Joseph Priestley who is known for the discovery of oxygen, born 1733 and lived up to 1804. In 1770, performed a series of experiments that revealed the essential role of air in the growth of green plants. And Priestley, you may recall, discovered oxygen in 1774. Priestley observed that a candle burning in a closed space, a bell jar, soon gets extinguished. Similarly, a mouse would soon suffocate in a closed space. And from this, Priestley concluded that a burning candle or an animal that breathed the air both somehow damaged the air. But when he placed a mint plant in same bell jar, he found that the mouse stayed alive and the candle continued to burn. And Priestley hypothesized as follows: plants restore to the air whatever breathing animals and burning candles remove. And now, Priestley would have conducted the experiment using a candle and a plant. He would need to rekindle the candle to test whether it burns after a few days, how many different ways, and this is just a riddle for you. Can you think of to light the candle without disturbing the setup? Using a similar setup as the one used by the Priestley, but by placing it once in the dark and once in the sunlight, it was Jan Ingenhousz, 1730-1799. He showed that the sunlight is essential to the plant process, that somehow purifies the air polluted by burning candles or breathing animals. Ingenhousz, in an elegant experiment with an aquatic plant, showed that in bright sunlight some bubbles were formed around the green plants, when in the dark they did not. And this showed the essentiality of the light for the photosynthesis to be carried out. Later he identified these bubbles to be oxygen, and hence he showed that it is only the green part of the plants that could release oxygen. And more we will discuss in the next class, inshallah. Thanks. Have a nice day.